In my 42 years with the Associated Press, I met many celebrities, including Slowhand Eric Clapton, Stray Cat Brian Setzer, and Star Trek Captain Patrick Stewart. Yeah, sounds pretty impressive. But the ones I remember best are the three most intelligent stars I ever interviewed. And they are Garrison Keillor, creator and original host of A Prairie Home Companion, and Academy Award-winning screenwriter Diablo Cody, and Neil Gaiman, a award-winning fantasy, science fiction, and horror writer, or as I like to call them, a Stripper and Two Gropers. So, let me start with the Stripper, Diablo Cody. I first met Cody, whose real name is Brooke Busey Hunt. And in 2006, she was a long-time blogger with a not family-friendly blog site called The Pussy Ranch. And she had just published her first book. It was a memoir called Candy Girl, subtitled A Year in the Life of an Unlikely Stripper. So, she articulate, jubilant, and she had just come off an appearance on the David Letterman show, in which she was named the first winner of Dave's Book Club Award for Candy Girl. The subtitle was I can't see it. Anyway, I don't think there was ever a second pick. So it was a year in the life of an unlikely stripper. She was awaiting start of production that fall on her first screenplay, which was Juno, about the, if you've seen this, it's a good movie, about the relationship between a pregnant, geeky teenager played by Ellen, then now Elliot Page, and Jason Bateman, who plays the man who plans to adopt her child. I met Cody at the Loft Literary Center in downtown Minneapolis, where she regaled me for more than an hour with tales of stripping. She would admit to being a rank amateur, saying to create a fantasy for men, you have to be able to maintain an illusion. And I cannot feign interest in anything to save my soul. So Cody was living with her fiance while working as a stripper after never entering as much as a wet t-shirt contest. And the two would exchange smiles whenever a song from her stripping days would come on the radio. Cody's favorite song to strip to was AC/DC's Hell's Bells. She would use the stage names Roxanne or Bon Bon in stripping. So cut to a year and a half later, and Cody was enjoying a holiday hit with the movie Juno. Entertainment Weekly ranked her 38th among the 50 smartest people in Hollywood. I don't know how that was determined, but she came in 38th. And she was all of 29 years old. When I asked her about divorcing her husband after he allegedly had an affair with her assistant, her tough chick mask broke down and she cried. I was feeling like a robot, she told me after sobbing. But ever the trooper, she went on to record a video interview with me. So here is unpublished audio of Diablo Cody.
How was your high school experience?
Wonderful. I actually really enjoyed high school. I think a lot of people are personally surprised to hear that because you assume, the misfit, worst years of her life were high school. But in actuality, I enjoyed myself. I liked being a teenager. Everything is heightened at that time.
I liked being a teenager. Everything was heightened at that time. So, pardon me. That year, Cody was nominated for a Golden Globe for Juno and won the Oscar for Best Screenplay. She went on to win the Best Book Tony in 2021 for writing Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill for Broadway. Cody is now halfway to EGOT status. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, as a distinction she would share with Mel Brooks and Barbra Streisand. When I first met Cody, she looked punk with a tongue stud, black fingernails, a crucifix, skull and crossbones headscarf, and an upper arm tattoo emblazoned with the words Johnny's Girl, Johnny being her husband. The second time I met her, that tattoo was sadly obliterated with roses. She summed up her year by telling me it was like being shot out of a cannon. Our next celebrity is Garrison Keillor. Now, about a dozen people attended Garrison Keillor's inaugural production of A Prairie Home Companion at McAllister College in St. Paul in July 6, 1974. That show is now in the Library of Congress's recordings of original sound recordings. We all know about Prairie Home, that was named after a cemetery in Moorhead, Minnesota, how Keillor entertained millions of listeners a week with his homespun tales of Lake Wobegon, where all the women are strong, all the men are good looking, and all the children are above average. But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to dig the dirt. In 2016, amid much fanfare.
2017.
Well, he signed on.
Yes.
As Prairie Home host and turned the show over to Mandolinist Chris Thiele, a regular guest on the show. In November of 2017, I had just parked in the AP ramp when I got a call from a Keillor source. Jeff, the voice said, Garrison wants to send you a news release and wants to make sure he has your correct email address. My suspicions were aroused. Is Garrison getting sued for sexual harassment, I asked. I was well aware of his shenanigans. And this was, after all, the height of the Me Too movement, and just that morning, NBC had fired Matt Lauer as host of the Today Show. My suspicion, okay. A few minutes later, the email from Keillor arrived, saying he was fired from Minnesota Public Radio for sexual misconduct. His news release did not give details, but Keillor told the Star Tribune that he had put his hand on a woman's back while trying to console her. And that's my Keillor voice. That prompted a media circus. NPR was not talking about the allegations, although the stories about his shenanigans were well known. 3 months later, Keillor sat down with me for an extended on-the-record interview at his sister's home in South Minneapolis. Keillor told me that, in his sonorous voice, that several sexually suggestive emails he had exchanged with a former researcher were simply, quote, romantic writing that never resulted in a physical relationship. So here's part of the deal was that I was not supposed to broadcast this on the radio. And I did not, but here for you, since you came to the show, I've got Garrison Keillor.
Did you have a sexual relationship?
No, I did not in the least.
Okay.
Not in the least. No button was unbuttoned and no zipper was unzipped. I would remember this if it had happened.
But you did touch her back?
I never kissed her.
Okay. Okay.
That sigh is for all of us. Anyway, picking up. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Okay. Before the interview, Keillor allowed me and a colleague to view hundreds of emails between Keillor and the woman dating from 2004 to 2017, 13 years worth, on condition they could be described but not quoted. In one email in 2015, Keillor wrote of his desire to reach into the woman's blouse and hold her breast in his hand. As Keillor neared retirement, he apologized to the woman, and she said she forgave him. In April of 2018, NPR and Keillor reached an agreement allowing archives of Prairie Home to be available to the public again. My last character is Neil Gaiman. This is shown outside his home in Menominee, Wisconsin. It's a Charles Adams style house. And these are two white German Shepherds. Now, Neil Gaiman, being a writer, claimed to me that German Shepherds are naturally white, but that Adolf Hitler bred them to look ferocious and wolf-like. And that, of course, is a bunch of hooey. So anyway, I met Neil first in 2005. He was signing copies of his book, Anansi Boys, in the back room of Dreamhaven Comics in Minneapolis. Neil was tall, confident, wearing all black down to his underwear. And you'll have to take his word for that. If you care to, you can read about Anansi Boys on the internet. And you can also, but you will not be able to see the Prime Video about the series because that was put on hold after Gaiman was accused of sexual abuse by several women, including his live-in nanny. Gaiman calls his accuser a fantasist who has fabricated a tale of abuse against me and his estranged wife, former Dresden Doll front woman Amanda Fowler. So the last time I interviewed Neil was in 2008. His Adams family style house outside Menominee in western Wisconsin. He was promoting the Graveyard book, for which he won both the American Newbery Award and the British Carnegie Medal, the first time that has ever happened. So, kick-off publication, Neil went on the internet and wrote a chapter from the Graveyard book in each city. Video of each chapter was on his kid-friendly website, Mouse Circus, which still exists even though Neil has been canceled. To wrap up, on his Neil Gaiman website last January, Neil said he's watched the stories circulating on the internet and he denies them. I cannot and will not admit to doing things I didn't do, Gilman concluded. So in conclusion, Garrison Keillor and Neil Gaiman were all too human, reaching stratospheric heights in the arts, while, like mythical Icarus, they flew too close to the sun and got burned. But Diablo Cody is the only one who shed her clothes, but not her dignity. I'm glad I had the chance to interview all three. Next up, Bill Murray is an asshole.